So when you think of a millionaire, what do you think of? Lavish vacations, fancy car, super big house. These are the things that I first think of when I think of a millionaire. Someone that has $1 million in the bank. But what if I told you that the majority of millionaires don't live in Beverly Hills, they don't live in downtown New York, they actually live in communities and neighborhoods just like yours. And maybe your next door neighbor is a millionaire. Today's video is on a very popular personal finance book by Stanley and William D called The Millionaire Next Door. And basically, these two authors, they did a bunch of studies and they did a lot of research about the millionaires in the United States. And they found a couple of really interesting things. They said that they found a disproportionate amount of millionaires in lower to middle income neighborhoods compared to the higher income white collar neighborhoods. And they started asking why? Why is this? And this is what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, these two authors found that there was one major trait that really differentiated these everyday millionaires from everybody else. And that was that they really didn't put any value on status items, meaning things that you buy just to look like you are wealthy. They don't actually bring you value other than the fact that they make you look a certain way. And these everyday millionaires, they didn't worry about that. And after that, there's actually 6 other things that these millionaires did or something that affected them in a certain way that created their mindset, that created them so that they were able to be a millionaire. So let's get into it. Now, the very first thing that these millionaires said is that they received next to zero cash from their parents. Now, many of us, when they think of millionaires, they think of trust fund babies. Those that get a bunch of money from their parents, inherit a bunch, and of course they're able to make money because they already have money. But in reality, they found that this was not the case. Those that did receive cash payments from their parents were actually less likely to become a millionaire themselves because they did not have to work for it. Now, the second thing these millionaires did was they lived within their means. And this sounds simple, but the book covers some of the millionaires that made $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year. Not very much, and even up to those that made $200,000, $300,000 a year. And basically, it came down to no matter where their income level was, they lived below it. They budgeted, they did everything they needed to do to live below those means and spend time to save and invest. Now, the third thing that differentiated these millionaires from everybody else was that they spent more than 2 times amount of time and energy on planning their finances. So these people, if you asked them exactly, what they spend every month, every year on housing, on clothes, on food, they would know. They took the time to make these budgets. They took the time to watch their spending. So they knew those things and they planned accordingly. They planned on how much they were going to save, how much they were going to invest, and over years, all this time and energy compounded so that they saw the results that they really were looking for. Now, the fourth attribute that these millionaires had was that they valued security, financial security, over looking wealthy. Now, we know in higher well-to-do communities, in white-collar communities, where everyone has a very nice house, a nice car, all these things. In the book, they found that these communities actually had less millionaires than some blue-collared, lower-end neighborhoods because everyone in these white-collar neighborhoods compared themselves to each other and had to have the newest thing to be as good as the Joneses, right? That's what they say. So these millionaires differentiated themselves by not worrying about that. They valued security, the financial security, instead of worrying what everyone else was doing. These millionaires did something, and this is number 5, did something that most people can't even think about doing, which is they invest religiously. When I say religiously, in the book they said that these millionaires invested up consistently about 20% of their income every year. And for some people that might seem like a huge number, like wow, I can't even think about saving and investing that much money every year, but don't get discouraged. Just start where you are at. If it's 1%, 2%, start where you're at and get the habit rolling, and it's so much easier to go from 2% to 3% than 0% to 1%. Once you start the habit, it becomes so much easier to grow over time, especially as your income increases. Hopefully then you'll take the initiative not to spend more, but then to say, okay, I need to save more, and then slowly work your way up to that 20% mark that they found the millionaires consistently save over their lifetime. Now, the sixth thing that these millionaires understood very well was that they understood what things actually cost. And what I mean by this is, let's say we go out and buy the newest iPhone or newest phone, whatever, for $1,000. Easy numbers, let's say $1,000. The average Joe, it costed me $1,000. But the average millionaire knows the opportunity cost of that money. They know that if they would have just kept their old phone and used that for a few more years, and they would have invested that $1,000 for, let's say, 20 years. Let's say they were 30 and invested at age 50. Just let it ride, right? Let's assume a 10% return. They know that that would grow to about over $6,500 in that time. So they know that buying that phone, that new thing that came out, that new gadget, is not just costing them $1,000. It's actually costing them $6,500, if not more, over the course of their lifetime, because they chose to spend it on that phone. So they understood that things actually cost more than you think they do because the opportunity cost of that money. Now, the purpose of this video is not to say that becoming a millionaire is the most important thing, because it's not true. If we spent all our energy saving every nickel, every dime just to get there, just to become a millionaire, it's not worth it. There's so much more to life than just becoming a millionaire. The real purpose of this video and this article is to show that millionaires are closer than you think, and that the average Joe, even those with lower incomes, do become millionaires. They become millionaires all the time through consistency, through patience, through the right habits, through the right actions. So if you relate to any of the 6 things I said, then keep doing it. If you're like, wow, that's something I need to work on, then start now. Be patient. You don't have to be perfect today, and you're not going to become a millionaire overnight. It takes people time, years, decades to grow that, especially for those that have lower incomes. So, again, take this one step at a time in bite-sized pieces. If you have to go one by one through the 6 different things that the millionaires thought or did, and really try to apply it in your life, because you can get there. You just have to do the same things that they do. So, thank you for joining me again this week, and I will see you in the next video.